Hey everyone, let me share with you some tips on getting ECFMG certification. ECFMG certification is a very important requirement in matching into a residency program for an international medical graduate. Think of ECFMG as your school representative here in the US. It will be the one processing all your medical school credentials and documents, then bridge you to residency programs here in the US. So an ECFMG certification is basically telling a residency program here that you are qualified to practice medicine here in the US, and by US standards, you can enter residency. So here are the ECFMG certification requirements. First is you should pass step 1. Second, of course, is you pass step 2 as well. Step 2 CK, which is the clinical knowledge. And then 3 is to pass the Occupational English Test or OET. So since ECFMG canceled the Step 2 CS, it has been replaced with OET, which is basically an English exam meant for doctors. I will be doing a dedicated video for my OET medicine experience. Fourth will be the pathway approval. There are 6 pathways, and depending on which pathway you are in, it should be approved by ECFMG. I was in pathway 1, so I can speak with that in later points. And then fifth and final one is the medical school credentials verification. And this is a very important one, but is usually overlooked in the certification process. So take note of this. So what are the most important things to note to avoid delays in your ECFMG certification? Tip number 1, start your pathway early. Even if you haven't passed OET yet, you can actually apply for the pathway already and start it. It costs $900, and there is a dedicated link from ECFMG where you can do this and track your pathway status. Depending on your pathway, you can actually already start with this even if you are still about to take your steps. I took pathway 1, so I can just speak about the process of this pathway. This applies for people with medical license to practice independently in their countries. I have done step 1, step 2 CK, but I don't have OET yet during that time, and I needed a certificate of good standing from my country. While waiting for my OET schedule, I started applying for the certificate of good standing in my country, since I know that this will be a really long process. Certificate of Good Standing or CGS is good up to 90 days upon upload from ECFMG, and you might want to request the issuing institution in your country to send a mail straight to ECFMG, as this will be a faster process of approval. There is another option for this, which is for you to upload it yourself. But the thing about this is that ECFMG will have to approve this and verify this, and then they will be calling your issuing institution if this is approved and if this is valid. So I think that will be a longer process, and just requesting for your issuing institution to just send an email straight to ECFMG will be a lot faster. So starting the pathway early, even without complete requirements, will be helpful in avoiding delay, as ECFMG will be updating your status every time you fulfill the requirements. So by the time I took my OET, I already have my CGS uploaded, and it was way smoother for me. Tip number 2 is schedule OET early. As we all know, Step 2 CS was replaced by OET, and during the last month, I can only do it on paper or in person. So the schedule was very, very limited. I think now there is already an available one in computer, so you can do it at home, but still verify this and schedule ahead of time. So this might cause delay, and it is very important to schedule this and clear this early, so you can apply for pathway earlier. Also, remember to let ECFMG view your scores once you pass the OET. So this will take about 5 days for it to be transmitted to ECFMG from OET. Tip number 3, have your medical school credentials verified. I cannot stress this enough. This caused a lot of delay in my ECFMG certification, and I overlooked this one, so I think this is a very important part. So I had my pathway approved in first week of June, but it took me 3 months to get my ECFMG certified because of this. So I just got ECFMG certification, which is now as September. And let me explain this to you. So in order to get your certification, your medical school needs to verify your credentials first. You will see the status here in the ECFMG portal. If it is not yet approved, it will say here your medical school credentials is still pending. In order to verify this, ECFMG will send a form called Form 327A to your medical school via email if your school is participating in the EMSWP or web portal, or snail mail. Unfortunately, my medical school is not participating in the portal, so it has to be sent via snail mail, which, according to my other friends' experience and all the others' experience, will take 2 months before the medical school receives it. Take note, that is just the time they would receive it, not process it yet. So the Form 327A was automatically sent by ECFMG to my medical school upon my pathway approval. I didn't have to do anything for that. They sent it first week of June, but by end of July, I called my medical school and they still haven't received the form. I called ECFMG and explained the situation, that there is a lockdown in my country and the shipping is very much delayed and it might cause ECFMG certification delay for me. And ECFMG was kind enough to agree with it and told me that they will just be sending the form to my medical school via email. It took around 5 days before my medical school received it, because I was calling for an update to my medical school daily. It took 5 weeks for my medical school to fill up the Form 327A for me. I was calling for an update at least twice weekly. Then ECFMG also agreed for my medical school to send my form via email. It took 5 business days for ECFMG to receive it and see it in their portal. I've been calling ECFMG all throughout an update regarding my form. Then they told me I had a problem with my transcript of records. And so I requested for a checking of my documents, and I was so scared waiting for it, and finally, and voila, I've got my med school credentials verified. Immediately, I got an email from ECFMG that they will be sending me my certificate. So it was a really long and nerve-wracking process, and you don't want to get in the middle of this and get delays. So have this thing checked and do not overlook this process. So with this, my last tip, number 4. When in doubt, call ECFMG. They might be swamped right now, but they are the only ones who can answer your questions, especially if those are credentials or name issues, etc. Just be patient with the call waiting, but make sure to always verify it with ECFMG more than anyone else. And if you have questions, please comment down below and I will try my best to answer it if I can. I hope this was helpful and good luck, everyone.